Hello, I'm Arla Jarmanaki. I'm an old friend of George's. George was a very good friend to me, and I was a good friend to him. We did a lot of things together. Today, there's best friends, new best friends. George was just a true, good friend. He stood beside me, and I stood beside him. We backed each other up. We did a lot of things together. We worked together. We had some adventures together, and some of those I'm going to share with you today. I'd like to call this Adventures with George, because that's what they were. They were life adventures together with another human being that cared for you, and I cared for them. Let me tell you how I met George. George and I met at the Portals restaurant at Dulles International Airport. The Portals was a restaurant on the backside of the airport on a higher level that looked out over the airstrips, and it was quite beautiful at night because you could see all the airstrips with the blue lights, and it kind of looked like a marina. Often the fog would roll in during the daytime, and it was a very interesting place to work. So I got a job there, and so did George, and we were working together. That's where we first met each other. I was working as a waiter, and he was working as a busboy. George and I started talking, getting to know each other, and he found out that I was actually 6 months younger than he. Well, anyway, George got a little perturbed about the whole thing, and but we worked it out, and we actually became, friends and started hanging out together. He came over to my house, and I went over to see where he was at and where he was living. And shortly after that, I don't know, about 6 months, a year. Anyway, my mom, Maddie Lou Armanaki, she was a realtor. And so she had some clients that needed some house painting, and George and I were looking for something else to do and get some more work. So we did some house painting jobs, interior jobs, painting different homes. We did an okay job. I don't think we were the best, but we did okay. And then we got an exterior job painting trim on a house. The lady wanted all the trim on her house, and she had, brick house, 2 stories with a attic, and it was, our ladders didn't reach all the way up to where the attic breathing area was, so we had to rent some scaffolding and then put our ladders up, and we were careful about tying down the scaffolding, and we had to have 2 layers of scaffolding, if I remember this correctly, and then we put our ladders all the way up to reach the apex of the house. So what happened? I'm climbing all the way up to the top to paint the apex, and a wasp comes out and stings me, and I'm moved back a little bit, react to it, and it pushed the entire scaffolding completely over. And all that we had at least 2-3 gallons of paint on the scaffolding, and that went over the side, and of course it went all over the house. So I hit the ground. I was totally out of breath. I could hardly move. George hit the ground also. He seemed to be at a lower level. The lady came out of the house, the homeowner, and she was like yelling and screaming at us. She was very upset. I couldn't budge for about 10-15 minutes, but anyhow, we got it together, got out of there, had to come back for a good week and a half and clean up all the paint. So that job was a total loser. We lost our shirt on that one. But we got some experience painting. So we decided to get out of the house painting business. But a little while later, a few months later or so, I had a VW Bug, just a classic Volkswagen Bug, and it was kind of ratty looking, and we loved what was going on at the time, and we decided to paint it. We had to paint it like an American flag. We thought that would be really cool. So my Aunt Marie and my Uncle Gus, who lived in McLean, Virginia at the time, let us use their garage, and we parked the car in the garage, and we bought, I don't know, probably 50 cans of paint, maybe more. So we had red, white, and blue paint. So we painted, we put a stripe around the middle, and the back half was painted with red and white stripes representing the states, and the front half was painted candy apple blue with big white stars on it. And so we had the stars and stripes. And then we had an E pluribus emblem stencil on each one of the doors, the large one, with the eagle holding the arrows. And it was quite something. It was, it really popped out. And so when we were driving around, people just stopped in awe. When you parked the car, people were always asking about the car. When you drove through an intersection, where people would just stop and you could go. I mean, it was policemen and firemen would salute you. A lot of people saluted us, but anyway, George was just as happy with the way it turned out as I was. So it was we loved just bouncing around in that car. It was a great time. Other clubs, but there's one club that Tom Rood, a good friend of ours, and some of his buddies had started up, and I was working there a little bit, volunteering, and I think George did some work there too. But anyway, it's called The Emergency, and George loved The Emergency. Because they were an underage club, and they brought in a lot of different rock and roll acts. Often they would do a night at the emergency before they'd go and do a big stadium show. When I turned 21, I was born December 28th, and George was born in July, I believe. So George came to my 21st birthday party. This is when we were still working at the Portals, and Portals Restaurant. And it was quite a night. I'll never forget it. George was having a wonderful time. He helped me make this, I don't know what it was. We made at least 20 gallons of sangria, 5 gallons at a time. My parents wanted us to have a party at the house. My Nona made lasagna. We had tons of friends that came over. It was quite an evening, and I remember George having a good time and laughing. George's laughter. When George laughed, everybody laughed. So he was a great guy. Really enjoyed having a good time with his friends. It's okay, Griebel. I'm sorry I couldn't be there today. I was really looking forward to it. Wanted to meet Laura Lee and Philip and your families, and see Karen, and all George's other friends that he's made down there in South Carolina. I just like for you guys to come up, and if you get up this way, Franklin, Waynesville, up to North Carolina, Asheville, that's my dog. Please let me know so we can get together. Just want to say I love George, and I'm so sorry. He was a great man. Thank you.